So what I'm going to do is show you how you can design stuff using a feature that I didn't even know existed. So what I normally do with ProStitcher is do all over patterns. So I'll set up a whole quilt, put a design in, resize it, get everything set up nicely, and then I can stitch row by row. But ProStitcher is actually much more versatile than that. You can do all kinds of really cool custom work with it. So I'm going to show you something that I've learned recently, and maybe it's something new to you as well. Okay, so if we look over here in the side toolbar, in the quick toolbar, I've got a button that says simulate. That needs to be green. That allows me then to move my mouse and I get this crosshair. If I go to the green crosshair, that is like the one you see on your screen when you are moving your machine. So if I want to move the crosshair, I just click on it and drag it. So this is equivalent to moving my machine on the screen if your gears are engaged. So normally you would have an orange crosshair. Now, if you go to ProStitcher on the top tab and record in the ribbon below, you get a bar on the side, on the right hand side here. And look on the top, you have a icon that says mark. So I'm going to click on that. That gave me a point up here. I'm also going to say snap to grid. So often people will ask me, when do you use the grid and when do you not? On the side of your quick toolbar here, you generally have that grid. So if it's green, the grid is showing. If I click on it, it takes it away. So I'm going to use the grid this time to help me make a design. So I am going to have it active. I'm just going to go edit and undo because I want to get rid of that point there. It wasn't quite where I wanted it and it was ahead of time. So let's go again. ProStitcher, record needs to be green. And when I've got my crosshair in the correct position, I'm going to click mark. Okay, so that gives me a point. Now I'm going to drag my crosshairs across and I'm going to use that grid. And because I've asked snap to grid here on the right hand side, it's going to put that point exactly on the cross. So to explain, one of the big darker blocks is equivalent to 1 inch. So the smaller blocks then are 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. Okay, so I've moved my crosshair down to here, which means that's my needle. If I press mark, then it actually puts a line for me between the last 2 points. If I move my crosshair again up to here, press mark, move the crosshair down to there. So in simulator mode, I am doing this with a mouse and moving those crosshairs. In reality, if you're doing this at your machine, you're actually going to move the machine until it is in the correct position. And you know it's in the correct position because your orange crosshairs are going to be on the grid here. So you don't necessarily even have to have a block at this stage. This can just be on a spare piece of fabric or a plain piece of fabric. Okay, so I'm using the bottom scroll here just to move the design across a little bit. And I'm going to do one last point. I'm going to go up here, snap to grid, and say mark. Okay, so I have my points doing a nice little zigzag along here. And this is going to become a stitched line. Okay, next I'm going to come down here, mark. Okay, so you're going to mark each line. If I quickly take away the grid by pressing the button on the left hand side toolbar here, there, now you can see what I have actually put together so far. So let's put the grid back on. My end point at the moment is here, and I'm going to use the grid lines and put a point in between on each of these. It's going to take a little bit of time, so I'm most likely going to speed this part up for you. without the grid, I now have a design that can be used in the sashing. So my next step would be to go File on the top toolbar, and then on the ribbon, Save. I will save this selected, so that's my design, and I can choose wherever I want to save it.